Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. There's a conversation on Twitter, if you want to call it a conversation, that annoyed the shit out of me. So much so I actually responded, even though it wasn't necessarily directed at me. It was directed at Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon. Why does Susan Sarandon stick in Hillary Clinton's fan club's craw so much? Why? Let's take a look at the tweet for the moment. So this woman, Queen Brevenak. I apologize for not saying fuck you to Susan Sarandon earlier. I apologize. I should have said fuck you sooner. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Queen Brevenak. Queen Brevenak. It's not very queenly, I'll tell you that much. Now, my response, and in fact, it wasn't just me. Susan Sarandon responded. Susan Sarandon said, apology accepted. Naomi Kantz, this is disgusting. Funny how they're always going after our brilliant, strong women. Nina Turner, say that. Say that. This has nothing to do with women, so let's put that off the table. It's not about going after strong women or going after weak women. It's not about going after women at all. It's about going after a scapegoat. It's about going after a scapegoat. We don't like that Susan Sarandon told the truth. We don't like that she wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton. We're angry that Hillary Clinton lost, so we want to take it out on somebody who had nothing to do with the reason why Hillary Clinton lost. Nothing. Zero. Why are we continuously fighting this battle? Your candidate failed miserably, failed on a massive fucking level, failed to a degree that has not been calculated by physicists. Do you understand what I'm talking about? She failed. She failed on her own merit. She failed on her own steam. She failed. I don't know how many times I can say the word failed. She failed. Own it. Own your loss. You've lost everything throughout the entirety of the country, and I'm meaning Democrats. There's no other reason why you would say, quote unquote, I should have said fuck you earlier to Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon didn't do shit to you. She did nothing to you. This failure is on your candidates. Purely the failure of your own candidate. It's amazing to me. At which point did it become the responsibility of the electorate to get your candidate elected? At which point? Is it not the candidate's responsibility to come up with a stirring case, a moving thing, whether it's true or not, something that the candidate is supposed to do to get that candidate elected? Your candidate failed. She was horrible at the job. She lost to a black man with a Muslim name and then turned around, almost lost to a socialist. Would have lost if it was for cheating. And then turned around with the final indignity. She lost her reality show host. She has turned us over to maniacs. You guys have turned us over to maniacs. Explain to me. Explain to me. Why do you believe that Susan Sarandon had anything to do with Hillary Clinton losing? Was Susan Sarandon's dissent, her not wanting to fall in line and toe the narrative that you guys were pushing, was that more devastating than having an FBI investigation hanging over her head for like a year? Was Susan Sarandon more devastating than having an FBI investigation hanging over her head for a year? Was it more devastating than cheating Bernie Sanders? Was it? Was it so devastating? Was Susan Sarandon just the actress, just going about her way saying her opinion? Was that more damaging than cheating Bernie Sanders? Was it more damaging than Comey? Was it more damaging than Comey? Now, Comey is your fault because you tried to have this email server in your basement. That's still on you. Is it Susan Sarandon's fault that your candidate decided to have an email server in her basement? Is it? Is it her fault that your candidate committed crimes? Is it Susan Sarandon's fault that your candidate went with this kind of pay-for-play relationship from the State Department, monetizing the State Department? Find this to be amazing. I find this to be absolutely amazing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. You should be embarrassed. A, for supporting the candidate that lost a reality show host, and B, blaming somebody else for your failures. Yes, you should be embarrassed. Probably not, but you should be. The responsibility of the candidate to get the votes full well ends at the candidate, meaning Hillary Clinton, end all be all of responsibility. There's nobody else. There's nobody else. You're looking for ghosts. You're looking for anything to make you feel better of why your candidate lost a reality show host. And I get it. From the beginning, they told you that that election was a lock, that she was going to inevitable. It didn't matter that she had an FBI investigation over her head. She was supposedly inevitable. Didn't matter she can break away from a reality show host. The guy comes out with a video saying that Donald Trump was going to grab a woman by the pussy, and this in no way pushed her ahead of him in the polls. Maybe for a little bit, but he just crawled back up. The public didn't want her. Had nothing to do with sexism. Had nothing to do with racism. Had nothing to do with any of that stuff. Your candidate lost. Lost. She failed. Nothing to do with Sarandon. She failed. Choosing Tim Kaine was a failure. Choosing to put her emails in her server. Put her email server in her basement. That's a failure. Choosing to support the Trans-Pacific Partnership was a failure. Trying to pivot to this kind of leftist position that nobody believed that Hillary Clinton had was a failure. Being a war hawk, failure. I can go down the line. There was a list of failures. Those failures added up. Just because you believe that Donald Trump was a reality show host and that if you put him to the American public's head like it was some kind of gun, that they would be obliged to choose you. They would have a choice to choose you. That strategy failed. Your candidate lost. Get over it. Stop blaming Susan Sarandon. That's the point I'm trying to get at. It's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. You can't own your own loss. You lost 66 of 99 state legislatures. What does that have to do with Susan Sarandon? What does that have to do with Susan Sarandon? Explain to me that. Explain to me why your failures all of a sudden ended up on Susan Sarandon. You're telling this woman that you should apologize for not saying fuck her earlier. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Look, you're an embarrassment. That's all I'm saying. You're embarrassing. You're blaming somebody else for the failure of your candidate. That's embarrassing. You're blaming somebody else that had no impact on the election at all. That is another failure. Blame your candidate. All the failures begin and end with her. I'll leave it at that. Alright guys, if you enjoy the content, feel free to share, write, subscribe, but of course, you can support the work through Patreon. Look, I get annoyed with people attacking Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon was right in everything she said. Maybe it's not necessarily going to bring on the revolution because people are far more asleep than that. They're far more asleep than that. Exhibit A being the person who will write some stupid shit like this. So, no, maybe not bring on the revolution. Maybe wake a few people up. But yes, apparently, people still believe Susan Sarandon is the issue. I haven't heard Hillary Clinton call her name yet, but I'm pretty sure it's on her lips somewhere. So, alright guys, have a good one.